Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over this rifle that you see in my hands and that you saw throughout the intro. This is the Armory Hungarian operator rifle. So they have a few different variants of that we'll get into here a little bit later on in the review. But what we're going to do, of course, is just do a little bit more shooting with it. Let the dogs inspect the rifle as always, and at the end we'll sort of wrap it up of what I think about this rifle, because without question, US made, or US built rather, AKs just kind of have a rough reputation out there. So we'll get into that, but this is US assembled with a US receiver and US barrel, but made from Hungarian surplus parts kits. So without further ado, we'll let the dogs take a look at it and then get into those details coming up next.
Test the accuracy, we're going to run a few different loads through it. The first one up will be some Red Army standard. This is their new Russian-made stuff with the sealant on there. It's made in the same plant as Golden Tiger. Target downrange is at 100 yards. Scope mount is the Midwest Industries Gen 2. Scope itself is the primary arms 1 to 6. This is their Gen 1. It's super old. It's actually one of my first primary arm scopes, but it works like a champ and has a really good eye relief for the AK, which I like as well. Target downrange is 100 yards if I didn't say that already, and CTK precision arrest. That should pretty much do it. Let's see how it'll do. All right. Nothing like the smell of Russian ammo. It just has a smell to it. If you guys have never shot it, I assure you it does. Next up will be the ammo that we have here. It's the American Eagle by Federal, so brass case stuff. It is 124 grains, and we'll see how it does. A lot of people ask me, you know, when I test AKs to do some com block and some American stuff, so we'll see. Alright, next up we have some Fiocchi ammo, so once again brass case, 124 grain, and we will see how this does. The magazine, by the way, has the Weapon Tech bolt hold open follower in there. These are the Circle 10 mags from Circle 10 AK with the Cerakote on there. This one's in Marine Corps red. But I'm a fan of those bolt hold open followers. I know it's a point of controversy on the internet, and I will leave you guys to discuss it down in the comments section. But on with the testing we go. Let's go check it out. First group up here with the Red Army standard, not so good. 3 of them in there pretty nice, but this one up there kind of threw it off. So total, we're right at 4.5 inches on that one. Certainly not the best. Then I'm not sure which is which here, so I'm going to measure them out and annotate which group it is, because I seriously shot probably 7 or 8 accuracy tests today, and my brain is kind of mixing it all up. So this group right here, that one kind of opened up as well. We're right at 4 inches on the dot, and then this was the winner for the day for sure. Definitely tightened it up a good bit. And that one, we are right at 1.5 inches center to center. So this rifle prefers that load without question.
Getting into the details of the rifle, we'll start out front and sort of work our way back. So it does have 14x1 standard AK threads, so you can use just about any type of muzzle device on there that you want to. It comes with the slant brake, which the slant brake works well. It's a good overall muzzle device, especially for the cost of it. But I am a fan of flash hiders, so there's no getting around that. So I put the J-Max flash hider on here, and like I said, just about any 14mm device will go on there just fine, and it worked well. I've also shot it suppressed, as you guys have probably seen in the intro, and we're using the Liberty on there, the Liberty Mystic X, and their mounts definitely fit. And one thing that's nice about this barrel, which we'll get into here in a second, is that US made barrels tend to have very good concentric threads. In fact, I've never seen one that wasn't. So it makes it easy to suppress, much more so than some of the ComBlock ones. So pros and cons to each, but the ability to suppress it certainly is one of the pros for a US barrel. The barrel material is 4150 CMB steel, so mil-spec stuff in that regard, and then they go ahead and dunk it in a salt bath nitriding solution to give it the finish that you guys see here. What that does is it hardens the surface both inside and out, gives you very good corrosion resistance and wear resistance as well, which is important obviously for barrels with hot lead and hot steel going through them at about 2300 feet per second. That is a good thing, and that's going to extend the barrel life over something that wasn't nitrided. Of course, the Hungarian barrels, which is what this rifle kit here is made from originally, would have been chrome lined, but in the US, they're just not as easy to get as they are for the nitrided ones, so they opted for that, which I personally don't have any problem with. The nitrided barrels have worked well in my experience, including this one. For those of you that live in a free state, you will get the bayonet lugs still attached on your gas block when it comes to you. Now, they do make banned state compliant models, so for those of you guys that live behind enemy lines, they do make several different compliant models. Just definitely shoot Lee Armory an email if you guys have questions about that, because I don't know all the details on it because I live in a relatively free state. So continuing to move back, you can check out these handguards here. These are Russian handguards, and Lee Armory refinishes them as well as they do with the stock. You can see they have a great finish on there, nice blonde wood, and they do have the nice palm swells, which I certainly like over some of your, I guess, standard non-palm swell ones. It feels better in my hand, and I think a lot of folks would agree with that. The rear sight is just out of a Hungarian surplus parts kit that this rifle was built from, so nothing fancy there, but it is adjustable for elevation out to 1,000 meters, which is very hopeful with this cartridge, but it does give you the ability to do that should you choose to do so. I should also point out that this rifle is dead straight, so that's one thing that a lot of people who build AKs have a hard time doing, and this one is straight as can be. I can't notice any cant to it at all. You guys can check out the front sight there and see this one here is zeroed for a 50-meter zero, and it's dead on, so that certainly is nice. Lee Armory uses Morrissey receivers, and Morrissey, along with Nodak Spud, for those that don't know, are probably two of the most highly thought of US-made receivers out there for AKs. They are properly heat treated, and you really never hear about any types of problems with them, so that's certainly a good thing. And over on the left side, we do have the scope rail, of course. And the scope rail holes are CNC drilled, so that way they are aligned with the bore. And that's certainly important because I'm sure I'm not alone in the fact that I've mounted optics on AKs before and had to like dial 40 MOA of elevation or like 30 MOA of windage. So what that does is it minimizes that happening with the ComBlock mounts and other mounts out there. So that certainly is a good thing. You guys can take a look here at the safety lever. It does have the notches put into the receiver, so that way it clicks into place nicely. When you go from fire to safe, we have the dimples, which I know a lot of people like for whatever reason, and you guys can take a look at the rivets as we roll in some photos of them, and the rivets look very good to me. The only thing, if I was nitpicking about it, would probably be the one here on the rear. It looks like it might be pressed in a little bit too much. I'm not sure if I can show it with a camera, but again, that's nitpicking, guys. They haven't moved at all throughout use, which is exactly what you want. They look flush. They look like they have even domes. All that stuff is good. And the left side of the receiver here also has the XY axis put on there that I know a lot of guys like. We've rolled in some footage using several different mags, but we'll just check some quick fitment here. We have a Romanian one here, surplus, and we'll kind of hook it and lock it in. You can see we have a touch of side-to-side play, but very little, if any, actually forward to back play. So that certainly is good. And then we have the Magpul Gen 3 mag here with the steel reinforcements. Very snug, almost no side play at all. It does ship with a Magpul magazine, by the way, and really no forward movement at all. So very snug in there. And then we have a Circle 10 mag. This one here, again, fits very snugly. I can't detect actually just a touch bit of movement side to side and almost nothing forward to rear. So mag fitment across the board was pretty good with this rifle. I didn't notice any abnormalities there. Disassembly of this rifle is basic AK stuff. We're just going to make sure it's clear. It is. At this point, we're going to push the tab in, pull the top cover off. It does have the rib top cover, again, out of the Hungarian surplus kit. Pull our spring out, pull our trunnion and bolt out, and a few things we want to touch on real quick. So you guys can see there, the bullet guide looks fine. There's nothing abnormal there with that. And the trigger is a Tapco G2 trigger. At least that's how it starts its life out as. And they reworked it. So they polish all the surfaces. They round the hump off. And I know a lot of guys are very concerned with mashing the back of the carrier, which we'll show you here in a second. And that rounding does help to minimize that. Trigger pull on this one's awesome. I mean, you guys who've used the Tapco triggers know that they're pretty much always good. But this one still breaks right around 3 pounds. But it's just a little bit smoother than your standard Tapco trigger would be. And we'll set that off to the side. Recoil spring assembly, nothing at all to look at. There are some wear marks, but that's just from good honest use. And take a look here at the bolt and the carrier itself. So this rifle right now has about 900 rounds through it. You guys can see some wear, but nothing abnormal that I'm noticing at all as I'm looking at it. And take a look here at the back of the carrier, because I know that's what people are always concerned with. Yeah, we definitely do have some mushrooming. I'm not sure how well that comes across there on camera, but it's nothing that's going to cause a problem, at least not as of right now. Of course, after this review, I'll continue to use this rifle in different projects going forward in the channel and update it as I see. But we do have some wear here on the carrier as well, but again, nothing abnormal that I'm seeing. Just like the handguards, the stock is a surplus Russian stock kit that's refinished by Lee Armory. You can see it has a very good finish overall. It does have all of the different furniture accessories with it, so you have your butt plate with your little cleaning kit tool, hiding hole if you guys want to use that. Now I should also point out this is a standard AKM receiver, meaning that any of the aftermarket stock sets out there for stamped AKs will fit in there just fine. So if you want to use Magpul, Voltor, anything like that, adapters for AR stocks, really anything that you can think of, they'll all fit on this rifle. So that certainly is a plus to it. I think we covered most of the basic specs on the rifle, but a few things to talk about just in general. So Lee Armory, for those that don't know, AK Operators Union did their 5,000 round test on one of their AK-74s. It passed, and it's one of the few AKs that was assembled in America to do so. It actually did relatively well in that test as well, so I'll put a link to the video in one of the corners up here of this video so you guys can go check that out. Like I said, we've put right around 900 rounds through this rifle. We've had a grand total of 0 malfunctions. Probably 850 of those rounds have been Red Army Standard. They were nice enough to send some out for use in this review, so thank you to the folks at Red Army Standard for that. Let's get into Lee Armory in general. So they've been around for a few years now, and they actually have a pretty good reputation in terms of build quality for sure. I know Copper Custom carries them, and several other places do as well. And when you look at the forums about folks talking about Lee Armory, they never talk about like build quality being bad ever, at least not that I've seen. But people will talk trash about them because they posted X on Facebook, or they posted Y on some forum. So I'm not really sure what that's all about, but basically in this video, I'm focusing on the gun, the build quality, and what the company produces, not what internet drama is on AK forums, because AK forums, for those that don't know, are full of drama. They love drama. So the gun itself has worked flawlessly. The build quality appears to be good. Can't be mad about that. Now this one here is not the premium version. The premium version is going to have sort of an upgraded finish over this one. This one just has the oxided finish. And right now over at Lee Armory's website, it's coming in at $699. So let's talk about that. So one thing that's good about having this rifle a while is that the market has actually changed. So as I'm filming this, it's December 2017. And at the beginning of the year, we had Beppers, we had SLR 107Rs that were coming in that were all priced pretty well, and were obviously Comblock made guns, and very good guns overall that I would recommend. I still recommend if you guys find those. But now the market has sort of shrunk a little bit, and in terms of Comblock made guns that are currently available coming into the country right now, we only have a couple, and actually they're priced pretty similar to this. So this becomes a more competitive option, I think, in the current market. And like anything with AKs, that could change, but there's always a resistance to US made AKs, and I totally get that. Historically, they haven't been as good as Comblock made AKs. That's absolutely true. However, historically, there has been examples of companies that do it very well, like Krebs, Rifle Dynamics, and others. So I think Lee Armory is trying to get there. But, you know, for you guys as the consumer, what you want to pick up in terms of, do you want to get a WASR that's going to be a little bit uglier but a very proven commodity in the same price point as this, or do you want to get something that's a little bit nicer overall in terms of fit and finish but isn't quite as proven, you know, over a 30-year period like the WASR is? Ultimately, that's up to you guys to decide. I present the info, you guys decide. But we'll put links down below to the rifle for anybody looking to pick one up. And if you guys have any questions about this review, as always, you can post down below in the comment section. But the best way to get in touch with me is over at my Facebook page. I tend to see more stuff over there. I don't know why, but I don't see a lot of comments here on YouTube these days. So that is definitely the best way to get in touch with me. But thank you very much for watching. If you guys just found this video and are new to the channel and you like what you saw, even if you don't like what you saw, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I truly appreciate it. And I hope to see all of you in the next video.